Chef Kate here, and I'm excited to share one of Rachel's awesome recipes, which is homemade applesauce. For our applesauce, we're gonna be using a variety of apples, everything from galas to Honeycrisp apples. I mean, really, the variety is up to you. Just pick your favorites. The fun thing about making applesauce for yourself is you really get to tailor it to what you like. To make this recipe for homemade applesauce, we're gonna be using 5 pounds of apples. You're gonna take those 5 pounds of apples and you're simply just going to peel them, core them, and chop them into small pieces. Small pieces are gonna work better for that simmering process as we're trying to soften up those apples. Applesauce is one of those things that I loved as a child growing up. My lunch ladies would always put the red hot candies into it, and that's like how I love to serve it to my kids, you know, sweeten up something that nature's already made sweet. So why peel the apple? Why not just chop it up with the seeds and all and throw it in the pot? You're gonna get undesirable textures. When that skin gets into that pot and it's cooking, it kind of turns into like parchment plasticky texture. And I don't know about you, but I love my applesauce to just be smooth. We would head over to my grandma's property and she would have apples more than she could handle, and we'd be picking them up off the ground. And those are perfect for making applesauce too. You know, the kids wouldn't want to eat them because maybe they've got a bruise on them. But for applesauce, they're perfect because you're turning them into a very smooth texture anyways. So don't be scared of a bruised apple. Once those apples are all cut up into nice small pieces, we're gonna head over to the stove. Into a large pot, I'm gonna add in those cubed up apple pieces along with 1 cup of water and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And what that's gonna do is add a little bit of brightness and help balance out some of the sweetness. I love lemon and all the things. And then we're gonna turn that heat on to a medium high and we're gonna let that come to a boil. Don't forget to add in a cinnamon stick because that's going to infuse some delicious warm flavors. Once that reaches a boiling status, we're gonna reduce the heat to a simmer and let that simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes covered until those apples are nice and soft. Now that 1 cup of liquid might not seem like enough because it's just a little skiff at the bottom, but I promise it is. We're not making apple soup, we're making applesauce. It's been about 20 minutes and these are simmering away and it smells amazing. It smells like fall, y'all. And so now we're just going to test. You can see that the fork is poking into those perfectly. They're so tender. Now it's time to kill the heat and puree. You gotta make sure you remove that cinnamon stick because that is not going to puree. So set that aside. And then I'm using an immersion blender, but you could ladle this into a vented blender or use a food processor. And the trick with making the applesauce, it's kind of fun because you get to puree it to the texture that you want. I like to use the immersion blender, so here we go. Now I've left just a few little lumps in there because I like that texture, and depending on the variety of apples you chose, you get to sweeten this to your liking. So we didn't add the sweetness in the first part of the recipe. Now is when you would taste it and add in a little bit of brown sugar to your liking. Just that easy, you have homemade applesauce. Once again, it's so much better than store-bought. Thanks for watching. You can find a link to this recipe in the video description below. Be sure to head over to our website where you can find hundreds of restaurant quality recipes that you can easily make at home. We'll see you later.